District Board of Trustees. This is the opportunity for public comment prior to the board adjourning to closed session. I'll note there is no public present, so we will adjourn to closed session and return at 5:30 for open session. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the meeting of the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board of Trustees. Today is October 19th, 2022. The board did meet in closed session this afternoon and took no reportable action in closed session. Ms. Mitchell, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Superintendent Geisels, are there any changes to this evening's agenda?
No, President Zerk, they're not.
Would someone like to make a motion on this item, or on the agenda, excuse me?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next is public comment. This is the opportunity for anybody in the public that's here to make a comment to the board on anything not on this evening's agenda. If you want to make a comment on something that is on the agenda, we ask you to wait to that agenda item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move from public comment. Next, we get an update from our Superintendent Chief Learning Officer.
Thank you, President Zerk. I just have a few things tonight. The first one is I'd like to welcome our newest TTUSD administrators, and we have 2 new administrators, and they will be coming at a future meeting. The first administrator is Amy King. She's one of our new assistant principals at Alder Creek Middle School. Amy has been a 6th grade teacher at ACMS at Alder Creek since 2017, and she served on the Alder Creek Middle School instructional leadership team, and we're very happy that she's there, so welcome, Amy. And also, we'd like to introduce Mr. Andrew Lusk. Andy has been a high school assistant principal in South Lake Tahoe at South Tahoe High School for the last year, and he's joining us as the 2nd assistant principal at Alder Creek Middle School. So they will be coming to a meeting, and we will introduce them formally. And also, I know I sound like a broken record, but we are strategic planning. So you have probably received a survey. I'm watching Ms. Mitchell's face right now. And I hope that you get a chance to fill it out. We have 3 big meetings next week. Next Monday, October 25th, we have an informational meeting here at the district office from 5:30 to 7. We'll have snacks, refreshments, and get input from our Truckee side. And then on the Tuesday, the next day, from 3:30 to 5, we will have our task force, our first strategic plan task force meeting here at the DO from 3:30 to 5. And then Wednesday, we will be at Kings Beach, where we will have another input meeting session at KB. Translation will be provided, and we'll have light snacks, sandwiches from 5:30 to 7. So if you can come to one of those meetings, especially Monday and Wednesday, we would love to see you there. And at this time, that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Geisels. Next, we have a presentation, and this is a presentation in regards to general neutral restrooms for TTUSD students. Superintendent Geisels?
Yes, I'm very excited to be introducing Ms. Joanna Mitchell, our principal of North Tahoe High School, and Mr. Quill Cook, who is a student at North Tahoe High School. Ms. Mitchell?
Hi, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Quill Cook, who is a junior at North Tahoe High School. He's involved in drama and our Pride Club, and he's given some very informative presentations to our staff as well as other staffs throughout the district regarding gender-friendly language. It's called Becoming a Gender Befriender. And he is here today to give you a little bit of that background as well as talk about the need for gender-neutral bathrooms in all of our schools. So, Quill, take it away.
Superintendent Geisels, board, and cabinet members, thank you for this opportunity to present. My name is Quill Cook. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I was assigned female at birth and came out as trans the summer before my freshman year at North Tahoe High School. I'm currently president of the North Tahoe High School's Pride Club, and my passions include musical theater, writing, and advocating for human rights. Like the majority of other transgender individuals, I experience gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is an official diagnosis for the discomfort, anxiety, and emotional pain that can come with having a gender identity that doesn't align with the gender one is assigned at birth. Situations such as wearing non-gender affirming clothing, being forced to go to the bathroom in a restroom that doesn't align with one's gender identity, and having non-gender reinforcing language used for a person intensifies the distress brought on by gender dysphoria. Over the course of the past 6 months, I have presented to teachers at 6 schools in the district, the Boys and Girls Club staff, Tahoe Expedition Academy, and the TTUSD Wellness staff to support teachers in compassionately and productively interacting with transgender individuals. In creating my presentation, I reached out to teachers across the district to ask them about what they have already been doing in TTUSD to ensure the best experience for gender-expansive students. In addition to educating teachers on terminology and culture, I'm sharing teachers great ideas to extend the reach of acceptance. When I began this project, I surveyed teachers and asked them to share what strategies they use to make their classrooms inclusive for gender-expansive students. In my presentation, I disseminate their ideas along with my own experiences to help teachers to gain more tools that they can use with their students. I included an in-depth guide to pronoun use and using suggestions like it's always better to ask and assume pronouns than assume pronouns, and it's always best to introduce yourself with your pronouns in order to cultivate a more accepting environment. I will also suggest that teachers include their pronouns in their email signatures because this sends a message of inclusion and acceptance. It normalizes the conversation about pronouns within the school. When making this suggestion, teachers have made me aware that they are afraid to do this due to district policies regarding email signatures. I'd love to come back to persuade the technology department to update their email signature template to be more inclusive. I also ensure that teachers have an understanding of terminology such as neopronouns, non-binary, gender fluid, and gender expansive. I discuss inclusive language and how to switch from saying things like boys and girls to address students using gender-neutral terms such as students, humans, writers, or my personal favorite, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I address common mistakes in gender-neutral language, such as saying their pronouns are, which is validating, versus saying their preferred pronouns are, which implies that using a person's pronouns is optional. I also share information that I believe is essential for teachers to successfully create connections with transgender individuals, including the knowledge that understanding gender identity starts to solidify in children by the age of 3 years old, which emphasizes that even at the elementary school level, being conscious of language around gender identity is essential. I point out the fact that 1% to 2% of teens in the United States of America are transgender, just about the same percentage of people in the world who have red hair. So if you've ever interacted with a ginger, you've probably interacted with a trans person. Finally, I share some current laws with teachers regarding transgender youth and the rights they have in schools. I'll be sharing a couple of these laws with you regarding laws about single-stall restrooms. The law AB 1266, passed in 2013, ensures that all students in California schools must be allowed to participate in all sex-segregated school programs and activities in alignment with their gender. As I mentioned, I'm a transgender individual with the same bathroom needs as just about every kid. My school has been immensely supportive of me, and when it came to changing my name and pronouns in Aries, participating in school sports, and making sure my birth name doesn't appear on any school-related documents, they have been very accommodating. I give North Tahoe High School an A for their compliance in regards to this law. North Tahoe's way of accommodating me regarding restrooms was to allow me to use the single-stall restrooms in the nurse's office. I'm a junior in high school. I've been out since just before I became a freshman. The number of times I've used the restroom at school in the past 3 years, I could count on one hand. Let me say that again. In 3 years of high school, I have used the restroom less than 5 times. The few times I have, I felt unsafe or uncomfortable. There have been multiple times I can remember asking to leave class because I had to pee, and upon seeing that there were other people in the men's restroom, I turned around out of fear. While offering me the nurse's restroom was well-intentioned, it's not a viable solution due to my gender dysphoria. Using the restroom in the office opens up conversations that I don't want to have regarding why I've come down so far to use the restroom, and it's not accessible if I want to spend less than 5 minutes out of class. I've timed it, and it takes 2.5 minutes to get from the furthest high school classroom down to the nurse's office, so it's impossible to spend less than 5 minutes in the restroom. On my way to the office, I pass multiple locked single-stall staff bathrooms distributed throughout the school. Teachers have offered to provide me with keys to the staff bathrooms, but I don't feel right about that because that's not a solution for all trans kids. That solution requires being out. I'm uniquely positioned as an out transgender student because teachers can ask me about my needs, but not all students are out. I'm here to be a voice for students who are not ready to speak for themselves. In a survey of transgender individuals conducted by Reuters, 70% of respondents had reported being verbally harassed, denied access, or physically assaulted in public restrooms. I'm not the only one who is unsafe in a multiple-stall public restroom. It's also important that we consider students who are non-binary. The only school bathrooms that would work for them are single-stall restrooms. We must devise a solution so that all students, regardless of transgender status or gender identity, can have a safe and accessible restroom. I've presented at 9 different venues and addressed the topic of gender-neutral restrooms in every one, but none have taken steps to address the issue. This matter seems out of the scope of teachers, staff, and principals at a school site level, so I've chosen to bring it up to you at a district-wide issue. I want to remind you about a more recent law that came into effect in 2017 in California. Law AB 1732 states that all single-stall restrooms in public spaces need to be marked as gender-neutral. Based on the attempts from caring teachers and staff members, but a lack of action taken to fix the issue of genderless facilities, I give North Tahoe High School a C+. I'm asking for support from the board, the facilities department, and the student services department to ensure that our school district complies with the spirit of California Law AB 1732 regarding gender-neutral restrooms. The intent is to ensure that all Californians can find bathrooms that are safe for them. This law is not only intended to keep adults safe, it's intended to keep all people safe. In our district, the newly remodeled schools have single-stall restrooms that are all gender restrooms in compliance with the law, but these restrooms are locked. They are only available for staff with keys. I'm asking that the district unlock single-stall restrooms to allow for student use. It would take unlocking all single-stall restrooms, and in a few cases, removing signs that say staff restroom and replacing them with gender-neutral signage that complies with the law. This would mean that children who are transgender would have decreased gender dysphoria and increased learning time due to shorter distances to bathrooms, and confidentiality for all gender-expansive students who need gender-neutral restrooms, as well as hydrated students because students wouldn't have to hold it. Concerns include that students could lock themselves into the restrooms. The single-stall restrooms are lockable from the inside, but all of them have a keyhole, so when an emergency potentially occurs or someone gets locked inside, there is a special key that can unlock those restrooms. Another concern is that teachers need a location to use the restroom. However, so do trans kids. Also, kids can use the restrooms during class while teachers are teaching, and another solution could be that not all staff restrooms are converted for student use, and 1 or 2 could remain for staff only. The amazing custodial staff already do routine cleanings of every restroom, so extra cleaning wouldn't be an issue. School districts in California, Rhode Island, Oregon, Chicago, Denver, and Philadelphia have already converted single-stall restrooms within their schools to accessible all-gender restrooms for students. They've done so in a variety of ways, including converting all of a school's single-stall restrooms, including one gender-neutral restroom in every wing of the school, or dedicating one single-stall gender-neutral restroom for student use. State School Superintendent Tony Thurmond announced in November of 2021 the formation of a committee to make recommendations to expand the availability of gender-neutral bathrooms on California campuses. I've sent an email to this committee asking to become a member, and I'm waiting to hear back. I've reached out to multiple different people regarding this issue, and I think it's very important that we consider the needs of all students. My ask is simple: to have unlocked all-gender single-stall restrooms available for student use at each school site. Thank you again for this opportunity and for your unwavering support of all students. I would be delighted to answer any questions, and I look forward to understanding your timeline for this decision.
Thank you, Quill. I was waiting for this because when I saw the pre-homework, this is such a great way to say, when can I expect to hear back from you? So thank you very much. So would you mind taking questions if the board has any questions?
Absolutely, yes.
Galen, any questions?
Thank you, Quill. No, I don't have any questions, but I have some comments. First, I want to compliment you on your courage, your trust in the board, and your education. I found it very, very informative. And I'd also like to tell you that I've seen a flurry of activity this week just on this issue.
Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any questions on this side? No.
I don't have a question yet, but I have a comment and compliment. And as I said to you earlier, we're really, really excited to have you here. We definitely wanted our students back in, so it's wonderful to have you. And I will echo Galen's, your courage and your presentation was phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
So you've done a good job. And I think it's extremely important for everyone to hear how all of our students feel. So I'm glad you used this venue. And A+ is good. We want, we got an A. But yeah, I just can't thank you enough. That is awesome.
Thank you.
And your parents.
That was going to be my comment. It takes great parents to raise a great kid, so good job, you guys. It's really amazing. Cool. So because you were making this presentation, the staff has done some preliminary work on just doing an inventory of what our restroom situation looks like. And so what I'd like to do with the board's assent, because this is not a voting item right now, is to ask our superintendent chief learning officer to do some additional work on the possibility of unlocking or making more single stall, gender-neutral restrooms. I think that we'll probably have a flood because I'd much rather use that too. And I'm cis, so and then bring that back to the board.
Okay.
In a couple months.
Okay.
If that's reasonable.
What we'll do, Quill, is we'll work with our facilities, our CBO, and our school principals. They're the most important people in this room next to the students, and look and see what we have available and what we could change, and look at signage, what we need to do. Just kind of make a long, term plan for getting this done. So we'll be back and maybe at the end of November, or do you want to?
Or, we have a lot of things going on,
yeah.
so you'll have to
Okay.
prioritize that. But I think I want you to know that you have support
Thank
for
you.
this
Yes.
idea.
We just
and
have
it's
to
a
do
matter of working out logistics.
Exactly.
Because the teachers need their space. And
Yes.
so there's just logistics and what is physically available, and it's different between the schools. So it will take a little bit of
so we have to
planning.
do some logistics planning and actually an inventory, and then go from there. And I'd definitely speak with our principals.
Awesome. Thank you so
From there.
much.
And,
Okay.
and I wanted to make a comment on your language, and I have 3 kids, so the last one's in college, the other ones are graduated, and growing up for me, or even through high school, the pronouns were never talked about. So it's going to take time for us older people, to it become a part of our thought and language. So thank you for bringing that to the teachers, because it's not a lack of caring or wanting to do it, but it's just making that part of your language. So I know my 3 kids, that's part of college, on your very first day of orientation. And give us old people time to change a little bit.
And also, Quill, I wanted to add the concern that you brought about pronouns on the email signatures. It wasn't really that, I think, Mr. Hilton. It was the,
Yeah, I can speak to that. It's not a tech department policy. It's a standardization protocol that what came up by our previous cabinet administration under a different superintendent, and that stayed. It hasn't been updated due to COVID and some other things. More to keep in line that we have more of a standard protocol across the district. So, you know, a teacher or a administrator or a board member doesn't have different types of signatures. It's more of a professional look across the district. So it wasn't necessarily meant to exclude. And I'm happy to work. It came from our public relations department in the previous administration, and I worked with them to help set that up. So I'm certainly willing to work with our new administration, new cabinet, and post-COVID, and new employees to make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Quill.
Great. Thank you so much, Quill.
thank you, Quill.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't hear anything, you better check back, right?
We'll be in
Feet to
touch.
fire.
I'll let you know. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of work, so we'll be in touch.
Great. So next we have 3 donations to consider this evening. The first is from an anonymous donor to North Tahoe High School Special Ed Department.
Dr. Cohen?
So, good evening, Board of Trustees and community. An unrestricted anonymous donation was made through the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation for $10,000 to the Special Education Department at North Tahoe High. The funds are intended for supplies and enrichment, and it is the staff's recommendation that the Board of Trustees accept this generous donation on behalf of TTUSD and the North Tahoe High School Special Education Department.
Board questions? Public comment on this? Would anyone like to make a motion to accept?
I was going to make a board comment really quickly. That is from the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation, and I just want to reiterate how amazing our community is in just so many different needs, and it comes out all of a sudden they are there with something we need, and perfect timing. We have a huge, amazing community. And with that, I will make a motion to approve the donation 10.1.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Our second donation this evening is from the Shane McConkey Foundation, another ongoing donor, for Donner Trail Elementary School, who won a second place in the Eco Challenge.
Mr. Hilton?
Yeah, I'll be putting on my Donner Trail Elementary principal hat for this one. We were very excited to learn that we won second place in the Shane McConkey Eco Challenge last year. And what our students did was collect the trash from one of the restaurants that shut down during COVID, and we collected some of the things that they were throwing out from their kitchen and their front kind of area, and we were able to make a beautiful flower kind of mural on the front of our school. So if you do pull up to the front of Donner Trail, you'll see the flowers made out of plates and different types of equipment that they had at the restaurant. So we were able to save that from the landfill and beautify Donner Trail. So the staff recommendation from the principal is to approve this, and the tech director agrees too. So thank you, Shane McConkey Foundation. They've been great supporters of our schools for ecological work here in Tahoe Truckee.
And I can attest how great that looks. Very colorful. It's super cool, yeah. Questions from the board? Would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to accept the donation from the Shane McConkey Foundation and congratulate Donner Trail.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And lastly, on donations is from the Truckee Optimist Club for instruction and learning at Truckee L.
Yes, the Truckee Optimist Club has donated $2,500 to Truckee Elementary, and it was used for 4 large bulletin boards in the kinder wing and also for the Cub of the Month celebrations. So all of the books from Word After Word were also purchased with this. So we're recommending that board approve this generous donation from Truckee Optimist.
Questions? So that was a local purchase, right, from our local bookstore?
Yep.
A public comment? Would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to accept 10.3 from Truckee Optimist Club and thank them as well.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And it was also used at Dairy Queen.
Say that one more time.
It was also used at Dairy Queen.
Money well spent.
Okay, next we have 4 items. I'm just going to introduce them as one and then let you guys talk about it. But this is related to negotiations and the legal process that we have to go through to negotiate between our California School Associations group, which better known as our classified employees, and the district for the 22-23 school year. So Superintendent Geisels.
Ms. Zapatini, would you like to talk about these items?
I would. So the first 2 items are the sunshine items from CSEA to the district and from the district to CSEA. This year, it's a successor, so we have 4 items each, articles each, 2 of which are consistent. One is wages, one is benefits, and then each side gets to choose 2 articles of themselves. So this is presenting the sunshine articles to the board that we would like to bring forward for negotiations. After presenting that, the next item would be the public hearing, so that the public gets an opportunity to weigh in on any of those sunshine articles. And then the last thing would be is that the district would accept the one from CSEA, approve the one from TTUSD, and tell us to go forward and negotiate.
Okay. So on the first 11.1 and 11.2, are there any board questions on these before I go to open the public hearing? Okay.
You have to do action first.
Well, that's, so, yes. So I think are 11.2 and 13.1 duplicative?
Yeah, they're supposed to be both info only.
Yeah, okay,
Yes,
that's what I thought. Thank you.
they are.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is open the public hearing, and this is a public hearing in regards to negotiation items to be discussed between the California School Educators Association and TTUSD. So is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And now, for an action item, we can, I'll entertain a motion to accept the sunshine articles from CSEA and approve the articles also from TTUSD to move forward with negotiations.
I will make a motion to accept 13.1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, thank you so much. Okay, we have the consent agenda this evening. Does staff need to remove any items from the consent agenda?
No, we do not.
Would any board members like to remove any items from the consent agenda? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
As I always do this on our personnel action report, under the consent agenda, it's always exciting to see more people signing up for our team. So I just want to shout out to HR for getting more of our necessary staff on board, and hard work's definitely showing through. So thank you for that. And with that, I will make a motion to approve 14.0, the consent.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. Our next item is approve the addendum to the Superintendent Chief Learning Officer's employment contract. So I'll address this. So in our CLO's contract, it calls for an annual evaluation and then consideration of compensation and other changes to the contract based on that evaluation. So that evaluation is supposed to happen on or about August 1st. We're usually a little bit late, sorry. But we did complete that evaluation process for this year for Superintendent Geisels. And upon that, she creates goals, et cetera. So this, what we're doing tonight, is following the requirements of her contract to do the evaluation, then consider changes in her contract. So there's four things that we are taking action on this evening. That is providing a 6% salary increase retroactive to July 1st, 2022. I'd like to point out that we usually follow for the superintendent the increases given to other employees, but we're not done with the negotiation process. So we chose an amount that will be within the parameters of what we believe will happen with other employees. She earned, based on her performance appraisal, the full amount of her deferred compensation available in the agreement. And several years ago, we started doing performance-based increases for our executive staff, so that's part of that. She also received a one-time payment because she didn't get 2 one-time payments that happened for the rest of the staff over the last couple of years. And then the board is making a recommendation to extend her contract another year. It goes through 2025, and we're recommending that we extend it through 2026 to show our support for our superintendent. I had a couple of questions emailed to me about, well, gee, why are you doing that? It's may be a new board. Certainly 2 of us are not going to be on the board. In reality, it's showing this board's support for our superintendent chief learning officer. And should the new board decide to do something different, it really has no effect adding that year on the end. There is a clause in the contract that describes what happens if that board were to make an a different employment agreement with the superintendent. So, in other words, if they wanted to let her go, I'm sorry to be frank, it doesn't matter if this additional year is added on the end. The same process would happen. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that alleviates people's concerns that we're making some kind of agreement here that no board can ever change. So just to be 100% transparent. But we would like to show that we feel that she's done a great job. And so it's hard to have a 1-year or a 2-year agreement and have the lack of certainty in your job. So we're trying to take away some of that lack of certainty. So I have a scarf on tonight, right? So, so that's what's going on in this particular agenda item. So based on that, do we have any board questions? What about public comment? Seeing none, I will bring this back to the... If you'd like to make a comment, come on up. You can ask questions, just come on up. I'm going to treat it.
Like, does anybody have any?
I know. I'm going to treat this. I'm going to treat it as public comment. So, go ahead.
I have a question about the 6% increase.
Yes.
Based on what you anticipate will be.
Yeah. Is the mic on?
Based on what you anticipate the increase will be for the other bargaining groups, is that right?
Yes.
Should that turn out to be different, will the 6% for Superintendent Geisels also change?
Well, that will be up to a board. That would have to be another board action. So if the employees got less, that could change. If they got more, it could change.
Okay.
But it would take another board action to do that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Other public comment? Thanks, Dee. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion on this item?
Thank
So,
you.
Wait, I have to read this out. Sorry, let me read this out. So to be clear, and it's required by California law to read out any public employment contracts with this specific amount. So let me do that. The board is proposing to take action to approve an addendum to Superintendent Geisel's employment agreement. If approved, her salary for the 22-23 year will be $253,838. In addition, she receives contributions towards health benefits of $25,154, deferred compensation of $27,000, and payment of professional associations of about $2,000. So would someone like to make a motion?
Thank you for all that clarification, Kim, and I will make a motion to approve 16.1.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a board policy. We did the homework on this, and there are no questions, but I do understand we do have a question.
Yes, I'm sorry to cabinet that, I'm sorry that I did not turn in a question. I didn't think I wanted to, but I do. Okay, so the board policy is regarding the athletic competition that we are asking to review. And I had a question, and I don't need it answered today, because I know I'm coming like unexpected, so I'm sorry. But if we could get a little feedback. I'm curious, the other districts that we play against, what their gender policy is, just because part of this policy says, let's see, for males and females, and that students are permitted to participate in athletic activities consistent with their gender identity. I'm wondering if the districts that we play against or the leagues that we play within have the same. So if at some point in the next few days, someone could give me that information, that would be valuable.
So I appreciate that you're bringing that up, and I will have to do a little bit of research and look into it, and I will get back to you. But given our presentation tonight, I actually think it's very much worthy of our efforts to take a look. So I'll get back to you soon.
Right, and as you're familiar with, we play in 2 different states, which makes it even more complicated.
Yes, and part of our revisions included removal of reference to any of the interscholastic athletic leagues that we play in, because we actually play in 4, I found out, so.
Just to keep it exciting. Okay, so you just bring that back when you guys are ready. Thank you, Chris. So we'll skip that item, and we're on comments of board members.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait, before we go, I'm sorry that went so quickly. I definitely want to just make a comment, and I think we referenced it at some point last week. In terms of our board policies, I really appreciate that we are looking at all of our board policies like as a board on a regular basis. And I know that we talked about that in the beginning, how there's so many policies and none of us know all of them by heart. But I value, when I was looking at some of the previous agendas, that we continually are looking at them, and I know that everything is changing, and we have different things that come up, and we do get board presentations that allow us to revisit those, and I just, moving forward, I want to make a point that that's a really solid part of what I like about this board, is that, and our cabinet, is that we totally are always looking at these things, and I really appreciate the whole work behind all this to make these policies more current. And I think that's important that we have that on there.
Thanks, Dee Dee. Remember about 10 years ago when we did all the policies at once? And that was
That's why I like this
that
one
was
this
not fun. Okay, you want to start?
Looking at my schedule, I am now a Radbad mountain biker. I have been to like 4 different mountain biking events, so I've been very active out there. Our Truckee High School and our North Tahoe Middle and High School kids have done phenomenally. I have been back to Tahoe Lake doing a couple different classes and recess. Went to North Tahoe Middle, did some more recess. That's about my ability. But other than that, I did do Alder Creek, and that was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that was 2 weeks ago. I think that's it.
Last week.
Was that last week? The last week was Alder Creek. So I did do Alder Creek and had a fantastic tour of the campus, and then just learned a ton about how their programs all work. And it's just fun. I think it's so exciting to have us back in those schools. Really, really excited about that. That was great.
I, too, was able to go to Alder Creek, and I was really excited because I started to think during kind of like our after-tour meeting that, before COVID, I think it had been a year since I'd been on that campus, and then COVID, and then waiting, and so I was so excited to go and really see what some of the concerns I've read on reports or that are voiced from their leadership. So it was really great, and I enjoyed it, and the school was very welcoming as I remembered it, and it was worthy of our time for sure. And yes, I will be at Kings Beach Elementary on Wednesday. Oh, and I just want to say, because Mr. Hilton won't, that his son keeps getting on the podium with this mountain bike team. Just saying.
Wait,
Thank
can
you.
I interrupt though? We did have a visually impaired athlete from North Tahoe
Yes.
that did 4 laps on that race
Yes.
course with a guide, which I could not, it was awesome. Like, it was amazing.
Right. I have a couple things. The first is, we know a campaign's going on, and I know information has been out there. So there was some information that was distributed this week in regards to how our library books are chosen and put in our library. And I just want to assure everybody that first of all, we have an incredible library staff. And we have board policy as well as state law about how library books are chosen and kept within our libraries. And if anyone wants the factual information about that, it is certainly available here with the district. So be careful. When people state facts, Galen has taught us very well that you need to have data behind your facts. This staff is always very willing to help folks with facts and data, but that one was a particular one that had come to mind, and it's really upsetting to our poor librarians who work their buns off to make sure that our staff have, or our kids, have really great resources available to them. So I just felt compelled to say that. And then other than that, while you guys were getting tours, I went to Great Basin National Park, Zion, Capitol Reef, Arches, Canyonlands, and Dead Horse State Park. Highly recommend it. Super cool. Lived in the United States my whole life and hadn't seen most of those. So, yeah, that's what I was doing. Galen?
So I'm going to thank Ed Hilton for putting me on to this. There's a research company called Niche. It has a website known for its extensive rankings of schools, universities, and communities. They released rankings on the best place to teach in California and in the United States. The platform methodology that they use incorporates several factors, including a school district's overall niche grade, resources that we have, facilities, and student-teacher ratio. But 30% of the niche calculations include each district's average teacher salary and teacher salary index, which is the average teacher salary normalized by median household income by county. So this is a fairly in-depth assessment, and they come up with where's the best place to teach if you're a teacher. The results here, number 1 in California, Solano Beach Elementary School District, their average salary, $141,000 a year. Second one is Carmel Unified School District, average salary, $122,000 per year. Third in the state of California is Tahoe Truckee Unified School District. It's just incredible to me of all the things this board has done to help our school and to focus on students is what caused this. So congratulations, everybody who contributes to this. And I thought the board should really be proud of that.
Thank you, Galen. Okay, we will adjourn to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you very much.